Hello again. We're back on router tables. These are two more of my router tables that I have permanently set up in the workshop. This particular one is a homemade table. Just zoom in a bit. That one's got a decent router in, an ELU 97 I think it is, rather than 96 in the other. This is an ELU MOF 97E, the electronic one. That's on a homemade table. And I've also made a stand. Now I made it portable on purpose because I've got wheels on it and you can move it in and out, and it's quite stable because I've made it a really heavy construction. You'll see there's a little cupboard underneath and two drawers for fittings, and also on the front there's a no volt release switch, but this ain't no ordinary no volt release switch. This is a Scrimper homemade no volt release switch, and as you can see it's made of wood and bits and pieces. Believe it or not, it's actually made from parts from, there's a fridge door light switch in it, there's a relay of a Hoover Keymatic washing machine, and all the components have come out of odds and ends. The knobs I turned on the lathe and painted them red or green accordingly, and there's a knee on it or something else. It's all bits, I made it for nothing basically, it's all out of junk. And like the other one on the earlier one I showed you, it's got a, you can't see it at the moment, but I put a 13 amp non-switch socket on the back so you can just plug the router in and out as you need it. And this is a really good quality router, and I've got that one router in the table, and I've got that one set up for doing mouldings and things. I'll move in a bit closer so you can have a proper look at the fence and everything on it. What I do, I push them back into the corner of the workshop, as you can see, and because it's got wheels on it, it's quite easy to move the thing in and out to use it if you need to. It's a homemade face support on the back, fence I should say, homemade fence, and you can see there's one of those cutters, multi-cutters in there that could do different shapes and mouldings according to how high or low it is or how far out it is. And I found that quite useful. It's got an aluminium, fairly thick aluminium table, and it's on a steel plate which is fitted on the top of the work stand I've made for it. But that's a really good one. Now we'll move out to the next one now. Now this one is a cheap thing. It came from Aldi actually. They sell these quite, I think it cost me about £20 or something for the table. And the router underneath again is only a cheap Pericraft router, which again came from Aldi, and I think that was about £16 or £17, which is quite ridiculous really compared to the ELU ones, which cost a hell of a lot more, but they are a lot better. I mean, it's cheap and cheerful, but actually this is quite useful. I've made, as you can see, I've made a little accessory on there. It's similar that this fence moves backwards and forwards and it does everything you want it to, and I've made this for doing end wood so you can push it across like that in the mitre slot. You'll see in this one I've actually got a slot cutter, and again, like all my others, I tend to leave that cutter in there all the time because I use it quite a lot for jointing and things. If I'm, you know, that's a fairly simple job and I just want to join two bits together, I just cut a slot in either end and then I put a homemade biscuit in, and I find it makes wonderful joints for things, especially if they're supported other ways as well. So that's the cheapest table. It has got a no volt release on the front that came with it, so I mean, I thought when I saw it for about £20, I thought, well, a no volt release you can pay sort of £15 for one of those, so I thought you can't really go wrong. If you chuck most of it away and just use that, you haven't lost your money. Again, as you can see, the plug plugs in underneath, so you can unplug the router if you want to take it out, but I never do because I have got spare ones anyway. They're so cheap it's worth having several, I think, if you do a lot. Now as for dust extraction, there's a secret. Well, it's not really that secret because I'm going to show you. In this cupboard here, there's a dust extraction. It's basically a little industrial Henry, a metal Henry, and all it is, it just sits in that cupboard and the hose goes off the back, and then depending on which machine I'm using, you'll see, I'll move it up here so you can see the back of the thing. You see it's pushed onto this machine here, and all I do, I just take it off. When I'm using this one, I just put it on that one, and then if you okay, there's a bag in it, I should say. It's just a container with a filter, and all I do, I just take it off. It lasts quite a long time before you need to empty it, so that's okay. And I think that's about all there is to say about that. Again, that one's another stand I've made. Unfortunately, I designed it for something else, and I put the doors in the drawer on the end, and it would have been better if I'd put them on the front. But when I made it, I designed it for a different purpose, and I didn't want to stick it in that corner anyway. But it's okay, but I just keep things in the cupboard that I don't use very often. You can get to the drawer. There's not much in there anyway. Anyway, that's the other two. I've got one more table to show you, so I'll do that in another video perhaps. I hope somebody finds it of interest. It might encourage you to make a table. And don't be put off by putting wheels on them, because I know people say they should be fixed permanently, but I found they're really stable. If you make it heavy enough, and they aren't quite heavily built, they're very heavy, they don't move. And it is handy to have them so you can move around. I've got the same, I'll just turn around a bit. It's a bit untidy in my workshop at the moment, but if you know, I've got my Hegner fret saw there. Actually, that's a diamond fret saw. I've got the wrong one. Move around here, and I've got the same similar tables for those as well. I find them very useful. Both are on wheels, so you can move them out if you need to, and it's very handy, especially with the fret saw, because they don't use much. They don't cause much problems with movement anyway. Although they do tend to vibrate if you don't have them bolted down firmly. Okay, I think that's about all for now. I'm going on to fret saws now. I'm on router tables, not fret saws. Forget the fret saws. We'll do that another time. Anyway, that's it, folks. That's my two router tables. That's in the other workshop, by the way. I've got two workshops, a main workshop, and this is a bit I built on because I keep running out of space. But I think that happens all the time. One day I'm going to show you my workshops properly. Bye for now.